What's up everybody, I'm Mr. Glasgow, this is Mr. Glasgow TV. So what I want to go ahead and do is give you my first impression on ride sharing as a brand new driver. I'm still, I think a month and some change into ride sharing. I've only really driven with Uber even though I'm signed up with both Lyft and Uber. Before I start trying to juggle them both, I want to make sure I got a steady handle and grasp on what one can do and then make a generalization. Okay, if one can do this, then the other could probably also. So it should be stated first and foremost that I'm a stay-at-home parent. I have a 3-year-old daughter and twin 2-year-old sons that I take care of. When we had our daughter, I was still working, and then when we found out we were pregnant with a second, I would have still worked, but they came out twins, so that was too much for me and my wife to stay at work because the childcare costs are pretty intense, so much so that we're bleeding less financially with me quitting and taking care of the kids at home. After all that's said and done, let's talk rideshare. So initially what I did was I did a lot of research on YouTube to prepare myself on all sorts of levels. So mentally, as far as taking on the burden of try something this foreign to me. From a business standpoint, how do I approach it as a contractor, whether it's with taxes, whether it's with deductions and tracking mileage and all that. And just like cases of what if a passenger does this, or what if I have concerns or questions about promotions or how they run their business in general maybe. I joined some Facebook groups, which are a lot more colorful than videos you'll find on YouTube. You'll find very, very extreme polar opposites of opinions. You'll find the middle ground. So you'll find a lot of everything in there, and a lot of questions get asked over and over. There's some main figureheads that you can rely on. You'll start to notice patterns of reliable answers and them just kind of joking around, talking shop, essentially. There's a lot of discussion going on in the Facebook groups, a lot of useful information. You can see both sides of people whose lives are changed, and they'll go into these long descriptions of how it's fit this niche opportunity to have a little extra to pay the bills, or even as a necessity to pay bills in some cases, even though it's a common theme throughout both ends that it's meant as part-time at best and supplemental at the very least. So yeah, the Facebook groups, they offer the best glimpse into the life of a rideshare person. When you watch the YouTube videos, they're polished, they're scripted, they have an agenda a lot of times, but when you're on the Facebook groups, you get the brutal honesty of what somebody out there is doing, what they're trying, if they're succeeding, if they're failing, if they're new, if they're old, all walks of life, different regions, how different regions cope to their certain particular markets, laws for different areas. You have people who are former police giving their insight when people try to make assumptions about what's legal and what's not legal. You know, there's both sides of the spectrum in there. And a part of what I'm trying to do is be, I guess, kind of in between the super polished tutorials of how to be an Uber driver and giving tips and tricks and insights. I'm trying to be a part of the ecosystem and then communicate what I'm experiencing, what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling, what my instincts tell me, where I feel like I fit in this whole thing. So hopefully I can give you an honest opinion of all that. It may not even work for me, but maybe it does work out for somebody else. I give them that light bulb that says, well, I would have actually did this, and then, you know, they run with it. Doing a lot of research helped me to answer questions, gave me insight into how to optimize my earnings, whether I'm going to be an airport driver, whether I'm going to be finding a system of going from suburbs to the city, staying in the city. I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do with that. I thought I'd just jump right into kind of streaming and then driving on the side, but I kind of been focusing hard on the logistics of me just getting ready. And so I'm still figuring that out, and then I can maybe transition into, okay, make some more content like I'm doing now, get back into streaming, and then get out there and hit the road, do that grind for that extra little bit on the top. As I do this and continue to create more content and give you guys updates, hopefully I'll help you guys see what it's like having rideshare as, in my case, the only revenue I have versus maybe later when it's more of a supplement. I also made a video of me giving a walkthrough of my car, keeping it clean, having amenities there for passengers, having little custom things for myself to express myself, to either make me stand out or as a utility to make me perform better in theory. There's two schools of thought on whether you put that extra effort and whether it's even worth it. Since I'm a content creator and when I'm streaming and doing other things, there's pros and cons to doing just like the bare minimum and grinding versus trying to go and do extra and maybe getting payback, maybe not, but then having a standard for yourself. And I think that's the most important thing. Finding the standard for yourself. You can look in the mirror and say, this is the standard. And I found that driving so far, within a month or so of trying it, it's paradoxical. For me, my motivation would be to do it for my family, to do it for the opportunity, for me being a stay-at-home parent, and then finding this small little niche of driving on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. You're your own boss. You decide when you go, when you come back, or when you start, when you stop, all that. And as a stay-at-home parent, I've given that sacrifice of saying, okay, I'm going to be the one to stay home, take care of the kids. It's kind of like a double sacrifice. It's like, not only am I going to do that, but I'm also going to keep working and grinding on, this other end. So finding that balance, I guess, is the biggest challenge now for me. It being a paradox comes in where, do I go out and drive for my kids and my family, or do I stay home so I'm not overextending myself for my kids, my family? Whenever you first start out, it's always my thought that you need to stress test it. Whatever you're thinking about, just stress test it. That means just do it. Just do it, and do it to the highest possible conceivable standard that you can do. Stress testing, I feel, is always the right move in the beginning, and then finding your balance. I don't think anybody has the capacity or creativity to truly flesh out a work-life balance hypothetically. That's where I'm at. I'm at that point where I'm kind of dialing back, recalibrating, and then I'm going to take the next step. And hopefully that leads to me streaming again, me pre-gaming again, having a proper work-life balance and schedule. That is my first impression of ride sharing as I've observed it, as well as how I've received it, and then assessed my overall situation. Hope that from that you can see where I'm at and maybe have some insight into where you may be in your life, trying new things, finding opportunity, figuring out who you are and what you're passionate about. So yeah, that is it, I guess, for this video. I have links down in the description below. I also have promo codes that you can use if you're interested in ride sharing that give me a referral kickback that I'll greatly appreciate. That's my time. I'll see you guys next time. It feels good making this video of just talking, and I forget how much I miss just being able to, even if I'm not talking to somebody, try and work through an idea in my head. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.